Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
Good. Oh shit, the chair. We just set all that up and then shifted the chair.
Oh my gosh, how have you been?
Not bad. Busy week. You had a busy week.
I did.
You had a big event.
I did. It was. I felt like it was good. Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about it?
I do. But first, hello, beloveds. Welcome to the Chi Talks. He says, she says. Detox the noise so ancient medicine becomes real life. About my big event. So I did say this thing backstage to my panelists. I said, don't be modest, be honest. So staying true to that statement, I think it was the first platform or space where I didn't try to make myself look more humble or more modest. I just spoke truly and authentically with how I felt and the questions that were being asked in my genuine truth. And in that aspect, I would say that I think that it was quite successful for me in that.
I think you did great. You definitely didn't come across as arrogant or full of yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you were just you were there, you were present, and you were just kind of speaking the truth. That's what it felt like, and that's how it came across.
Oh, that makes me happy.
So like, yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised. I knew you were going to kill it.
Oh,
yeah.
I had an interesting thing. So Jeff has no idea what I'm going to pose as today's topic of conversation. Are you nervous?
No.
That was not reassuring.
I probably should be, but no.
Okay.
But we're arguing, apparently, or we're disagreeing on something.
So the context that I did not tell Jeff what I wanted to talk about today is because, again, the Chi Talks is literally just that. It's conversation. None of this is scripted or pre-planned or whatever else, but also I trust that the credentials and experience that Jeff and I both bring to this conversation, it's more than enough for us to be able to really delve in authentic truth. However, this is he says, she says, right? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Is that what it is?
That's the saying. I'm not quite sure what exactly it means, but
I think that we're different approaches and aspects within the same foundation of the truth that we walk. So I'm not as nervous about doing this style of free talk with you that I would be with, say, somebody else. One of the things that came up, especially after the event that I had on Monday, was not what is acupuncture. I think that's such a age-old question that people have gotten some form or fashion of what acupuncture is. I take that and I raise you this question of how do you explain acupuncture without sounding crazy? Now let me give a little context. So why this came up? Because so many people ask, like, what exactly is acupuncture, or how does it work, or why did you choose acupuncture, right? And if you ask Google or ChatGPT, it's acupuncture is the neuroscience of using needles to change brainwaves, or it's we use needles to function chi or XYZ. But right, it's like, but what actually is acupuncture, and how do you explain it, right? The reason why I came up with this, because there was a trend on Instagram that was like, describe your job but make it sound illegal. And I posted, I said, I stab people and then I charge them for it. And I was like, oh my God, but like, how do you explain when somebody's like, how does acupuncture work? Or like, what is acupuncture? Or any form of that.
Yeah.
How do you explain it to somebody without like sounding crazy?
One of the metaphors that I like to use is I tell my patients, imagine your body is like a city, right? And in this city, you have traffic everywhere. And sometimes some areas of the city are getting traffic jams. getting stuck. Some areas there's no traffic at all and there's not enough business there, right? So I think of the needles as like traffic cops, and they're saying, hey, you guys come, you guys stop, don't move. And the duty of the traffic cops is to make sure that everything is flowing smoothly, and the city and the transportation needs are all getting met, all the information and the deliveries are getting met. And you balance it out by saying some people stop, some people go.
Holy shit. I say the same thing.
No, you don't.
I swear to God. It's in my content, actually. Shit. So I've been doing content for
I didn't see whatever content
I know, but this was years ago. This is way before I met you.
Okay.
People will always ask, like, how does it work? And I'm like, think about being in traffic. You're in FDR. You're on FDR. And there's a roadblock ahead because some idiot is seated in his car but on his phone and not realizing that he's supposed to go. He doesn't move. What do? You can honk at him. You're not going to ram him. So traffic cops come and they're like, all right, guys, this guy's not moving, so like detour, go down this way, and then eventually a tow truck has to come and move the guy, right? Whether it's an accident or just some asshat sitting there. It's just, I am using my acupuncture needles to say, hey, go here, you go here, you go here. Hey, I want you to stop here.
Yeah.
Literally what I said. So you said that was like, holy shit.
We're supposed to be like disagreeing and arguing, but I love that you use the same analogy. It's a great analogy, honestly.
I think so.
It gets the point across very well.
Yeah. Now I raise you that question.
Okay.
Of how does acupuncture work in your specialty? So you specialize in like GI. Some people specialize in fertility, or you know, I specialize obviously in psychology acupuncture. But one, do you specialize? What does that mean for you? And how does acupuncture work within that specialty?
I would say I advertise that I specialize in GI, but really I like to see everything internal, because I like to think of the way I was trained in herbal medicine and classical thinking is you should, even if you can't actually fix the person, your way of thinking should at least let you understand what's happening and give you a chance to fix it. You obviously don't fix everyone, but I just love seeing all different kinds of pathologies and then saying, okay, even if I've never seen this before, is my training good enough that I can take a first step, figure something out, at least get them from point A to point B, being at least some improvement, at least one system is functioning better. So I do specialize. I definitely specialize. I advertise I specialize in GI, but I welcome all internal disease. Yeah, and in that context, I use acupuncture. Well, you know, as acupuncturists, we get a lot of pain medicine. We get a lot of orthopedic. So there's that style of acupuncture, the trigger point therapy, the more physical aspect of needling. But when it comes to internal medicine, I'm just thinking in terms of meridians. I like to look at the shape of their body. I like to palpate and see which areas feel full or feel weak, or even visually look weak. Sometimes you can just tell by the way someone stands, like which muscle groups are not activating, which muscles are tightened, and they're going to correspond to certain meridians. So when I zoom out and I just examine visually and I try to form an image in my mind, like which meridians are the most affected, then I think of acupuncture as a way to balance out the meridians, the energy flow inside the meridians.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So definitely two very different ways of treating in terms of orthopedic versus internal medicine for me. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Your turn.
Oh boy. So this is gonna sound crazy, but I'm like, what am I working with? Am I working with your mind, your body, or your shed, your spirit, right? And psychology acupuncture, I think people sometimes get a little bit defensive when I say that I'm the mother of psychology acupuncture. I make it very clear though, I didn't create this. I like the title mother, not the creator or the founder, but it's because a mother is somebody who nurtures something that exists. You can create it, right? But within the framework of acupuncture, ever claim to be a psychologist. I don't claim to be a therapist, but I understand truly the study of the mind. So focusing on psychosomatic, it's like, great. You've gone to therapy for years. You know how to identify your triggers. You know what's coming. Now, what have you done with that? And it's like it's actually even more dangerous, and this is from my therapist and my psychiatry colleagues, that it's more concerning when a patient comes to them knowing all of their issues. Oh, I already know this. Oh, I already know this. Yes, my autonomic nervous system, my flight or flight, because they're just rationalizing what their body is trying to tell them. Mm-hmm. Acupuncture is the only modality that can take something that is wholly energetic or traumatic or mental or emotional and remove it from the physical body and have it find a way to cycle out of the body, right? So how do I say that without sounding crazy? You can't. I'm like, I'm going to stab you now. I'm going to move the shit that's stuck. And you're going to leave here feeling better. And they were like, okay. They usually don't get past like that I'm going to stab you part. But psychosomatic, I think, and I do say that I specialize. So I work as a partner at a fertility center. And like each person here celebrates a different passion. And I focus mostly on mental health. And I think it's one of the aspects of the fertility journey itself that is highly isolated and neglected.
That's a very good point.
You know, like okay, so as a woman, men don't really have this type of concern, but especially being an Asian woman, my parents have told me my entire life, like, don't have sex before marriage, like, especially being super Christian, reputation was everything, they didn't want me to be ruined. And then I turned 30 and they were like, where are my grandkids? I'm like, that would mean I'd have to have sex. Like, are you okay with this? And so it was like weird. And I had patients that were like 35 and they're like, I don't know how to tell my mom that I'm pregnant. I'm like, why? And I go, oh, because then she'd know you'd have sex. They're like, yes. I'm like, we're 35. She's like, I know. So I'm like, so we're told from such a young age that sex equals pregnancy. And then we get to that age and we're not getting pregnant. And then the doctor's like, oh, it's because your eggs suck or you're too old or now you have Down syndrome, like scares and all these things. And then they're like, here's ovulation. Here's your stick to pee on. Here's what you should eat. Don't eat this. Stab yourself with some meds and then we'll figure it out. And so they come here and they come to acupuncture like, I don't know how it's going to help me, but they told me to do it. So I'm doing everything that could help my chances. And I'm like, I don't care about the pregnancy part. I said, I'm sorry. Acupuncture is the only modality, from my perspective, biased as it is, that takes into consideration that getting pregnant is not the end goal. Great, you got pregnant. Now you have 9 months to cook the baby, grow the baby, and then you have to deliver the baby. And then you have 4 months where it's the most dangerous postpartum period. The only thing is 10 to 12 needles that are going to be stabbed strategically into your body that is going to make sure mentally, emotionally, and physically the baby is growing well, you are maintaining well, and your emotions are not going crazy. So given that, you know, most people are scared of needles, I'm like, you're giving yourself injections. You have massive tattoos and you have piercings. I don't think an acupuncture needle is going to be scary, you know? Yeah. So specializing, I think, for me, I took a little bit of a digression there, but I think I really hate, and this is going to be a hot take, and a lot of people are going to come for me when I say this. This is Michelle's thoughts only, maybe or may not reflect Jeff's, but I'm going to say it because I believe it.
I'll tell you if I agree or disagree.
I really hate when certain acupuncture colleagues say, oh, I specialize in low back, for instance. And no, I'm not targeting any specific person, but over the course of 14 years of practice, I've heard, oh, I specialize in low back. I'm like, okay, great. And then somebody has a kidney issue, like low libido, getting up in the middle of the night, all those things. So as an acupuncturist, you know that low back pain is a byproduct of kidney deficiency, whatever it may be. But this person's like, no, I only work with low back. And I'm like, okay, for me, for an acupuncturist or a Chinese medicine doctor to say and claim boldly that they're specialists in something, it means you have to know everything. and then some. So if you say you're a low back specialist, you need to know everything that low back pain is the origin problem, but you also have to know everything that leads symptomatically to low back pain as well to say that you're a low back specialist. We're not Western medical doctors. I'm getting heated because I'm starting to talk faster, aren't I? Western medicine, for instance, I had a patient that hurt elbow. She's a tennis player. Sent her to a specialist, and he was like, sorry, I only work on the hand. I'm not an elbow specialist. And I was like, what the fuck is your hand attached to? He goes, yeah, it's not my specialty. And I'm like, what? So then why are we as Chinese medicine doctors who look at the whole body saying, oh, I only work on low back pain? Yes, we prefer and we're passionate because that's what we're good at and we love that part. But if you don't know how to look at the whole body, can you really say that you're a specialist?
Yeah,
I know, sticky territory. Sticky
tough.
territory.
I mean, I see your point, and I definitely agree with points of it. I think calling yourself a low back specialist, yeah, you have to know that there's internal causes.
Yeah.
But I think if you can't do internal medicine, and you can't treat an internal medicine related low back issue, I don't know. I think at least you make it clear to the patient on day one, like you see them maybe, and you're like, this is actually, even though I call myself a low back specialist, this is outside of my boundaries.
Then why call yourself a low back specialist in the first place?
No,
you see my conundrum?
I do.
Like,
I do.
I have colleagues that are like, hey, I need you to refer. So one thing that I absolutely do not see, hardline, I don't see nail disorders. I don't have the part, dude. I don't know what it feels like for it to not be working. So I don't know. But also, it's not my area of expertise. It's not my area of passion. I do have colleagues, both male and female, that are like, shit, this makes so much sense to me. So I have a lot of urology-facing female and male colleagues. Why do you insist that I have to see you when I tell you, like, hey, I don't do that, right? But also, vice versa, why should I say, oh, I'm a specialist, and take away from people who actually are dedicated to that space and niche to just say, what? Oh, actually, I didn't know what I was talking about in the first place? You see my dilemma?
It's just marketing. I mean,
and I hate that.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm still semi on. I definitely agree with you on like the main point. But do I blame someone for marketing themselves as, maybe they should say I'm a low back like orthopedic specialist. Would that
or
be a little better?
Why not just say I'm an ortho specialist or a pain management? Like, you know, it's even silly to say I'm a low back specialist, right? Because like, what if you have low back pain from period pain? You have no idea what that is, right? How are you a low back specialist then?
Yeah, I agree.
Like,
all right.
it just like make it make sense.
Fair.
Right? There's other ways to market, and if you're one of the people that are like, how do I market this? Maybe she's talking about me. Just send me a text. I do business consulting, and I won't charge you for the first session. You know?
All right. How about this?
Okay.
All right. They have to make their marketing more clear.
Yes.
And yeah, I guess they can't call themselves a specialist if they can only do like one aspect of low back pain.
How is that a specialist?
Yeah. All right.
That's like
all right.
Well, you should say like.
No, but I feel like there's so many, even like Western medicine doctors, they specialize in feet, right?
Right.
But then half the foot disorders that come in, like, can they really treat it? They just send someone away with some foot pads and they're like, you're good.
But if I have a broken foot, I'm gonna go to the foot guy because he says he's a foot guy, right? But you can't do that for acupuncture.
Yeah.
I think for Chinese medicine, that's what makes us so much more lethally effective in our, and I chose those words very carefully because it is almost surgical precision to use Chinese medicine, acupuncture, and herbs for a specific portion because we understand how that person's entire body works. It's not just some generic, oh, did you sneeze this morning? Did you throw your back out while putting your socks on? Oh, okay, we're just, why? If you're 35 and you throw your back out because you're putting your socks on, do you have a prior injury? Are you an athlete? Were you a woman that had babies? Were you pregnant? Like, there's so many things that lead up to, should this have happened to a normal person? The answer is always no, right? So how dare you say you specialize? Like, you don't. You want to, and that's fine. Pursue those dreams, but if you don't know every road that leads to low back pain and every road that leads from low back pain, you're not a specialist. You're just a person who's practicing, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. All right. Cool. We're in agreement.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Chinese medicine is so cool in the way.
Yes.
I had two patients a couple weeks ago, both with elbow pain, wildly different presentations.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about that.
Completely different.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, one of them was just like obvious overuse, blocked channels, like tight, stagnant blocked, right? Some gua sha, some acupuncture fixed it up really well. The other person, elbow pain, but can't tolerate any treatments. And after the initial treatment was like really tired, and I was like, oh shit, this is like a totally different presentation.
Yeah.
And then just generally tired too. So second session was just like way more gentle and warming, and actually I did much less work.
Yeah.
And that yielded much better results. And without understanding the idea of like behind the elbow pain, there is the constitutional person.
Yeah.
Right? How much reserves does he have to work with? What else is going on in his body? Like, because the elbow pain is going to be a reflection of what's happening in the rest of the system. So not understanding the whole system from a top-down perspective, like, it's going to be hard to treat the elbow, especially in a case where it's definitely internal disease related.
Yeah.
So yeah, Chinese medicine just gives us this huge understanding, this framework for understanding that is like so, I think it's so cool.
I would agree. It's the nuances that I think make a good practitioner better and a better practitioner one of the best. It's understanding that not all problems that look the same are the same. And I think as you get deeper into your experience level, it's like, I feel like every year that I level up as a Chinese medicine doctor, I'm like, oh my God, I was wildly, inappropriately so out of line. I had no idea what I was talking about back then. You know, I'm like, wow, that was...
But going back to what you were just saying, not all things that look different too are different. Like they could look totally different, but have the same exact treatment method, which is the cool part.
I think people are so scared to talk about Chinese medicine because it feels really complex. It's this ancient medicine that like has been around for centuries and dynasties, and so it just becomes this thing of like, oh my God, where do I even start? But simplify it, right? Reduce it down. Okay, do you have pain? Yeah, everybody has pain, right? I always ask them, like, okay, does it hurt when you press on it, or does it hurt more when you don't press on it? And they're like, what do you mean? I have a headache. Okay. Does it feel better when you push, or does it feel worse when you push? And they're like, oh my God, that hurts when I push. Okay, there's too much in there.
Yeah.
If it feels better when you push, it means there's not enough in there.
Same with abdominal issues.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, if it's complex or it looks confusing, just take a step back and start with the easiest things. Okay, where does it hurt? How does it hurt? Why did it hurt? Right? Where did it start? And then that's our job to kind of asking. Although I do have a funny story. A patient who came to me to help with the fertility journey. And she was very efficient with her time and words. And she was like, I've had acupuncture for 8 years. I already know what I'm doing. I just need you to stick some needles in. I'm like, no. And she was like, I can tell you where my acupuncturist puts needles in. And as we've already established, Michelle is not a nice person. Michelle has very little patience. So Michelle was like, how did that work out for you? And she was like, what? I said, how did that work out for you? You went to this person for 8 years, and now you're changing over to me. Why? Well, I said, okay then. So all the points that you were doing maybe didn't give you the results that you were looking for. So do you want to give me a chance to ask my questions and figure out what we're doing here?
I want to know what tone you used.
The same exact tone.
Same exact tone.
Yes. Because I'm not here to convince you, and also I'm not here to persuade you, who are you to tell me how to do my job?
I agree.
I would never go to your job and be like, no, you're going to do this way.
You know, in China, that's very normal for the patient to go and tell the doctor, like, I need this.
Yeah.
I need you to prescribe me this.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
They
didn't even do a diagnosis. Yeah. They show up and they're like, I need this. And they write the prescription. And I was like, I saw it enough times in my clinicals in China where I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on with this country.
Yeah.
But that shit would not fly.
But I mean, I get it. I'm like, all right, if you're going to tell me what you want, you're for sure, there you go, good luck. But also, you came to me. You paid a lot of money to come to me.
Yeah.
And I asked her, I said, are you sure you don't want to maximize the time that you have? Because you spent a lot of money to be here. And she was like, well, I don't know if you're going to tell me anything different. I was like, how would you know if you never ask me? She was like, I don't like your tone of voice. I said, mutual. Now, do you want to dislike me but get the good results, or do you want to still pay the money that you paid to get this spot and leave? And she was like, okay, fine. I was like, thank you. I went through my questions. She goes, what does my shitting have to do with fertility? And I was like,
wow.
And I go, if you're not shitting, okay, food goes in, shit doesn't come out, something's wrong. If you are eating and too much shit is coming out, something's wrong. And she was like, I'm not an idiot. I said, you did ask me what your shitting has to do with fertility. I'm trying to tell you. And she's one of my favorite clients, don't get me wrong. It took months, but now we're very close. And all it takes is just take a step back and hear what I have to say. And it makes more sense, because then what I hate is asking, do you have any questions for me? I'm like, no, I don't have questions, because I don't know what I'm supposed to ask, right? And so I can only imagine from a patient perspective, when the acupuncturist is like, oh, okay, I'm going to work on this, and you have any questions? You're like, I don't even know what you said. No. So I do, a rule of thumb, and you're welcome to use this if you feel intimidated by any type of doctor's visit, and they're saying, do you have any questions for me? You said, I'm not sure what to ask right now. Can I ask you later when I do have one, right? Or just say, no, not right now. But I always encourage people to ask me, hey, why are you sticking a needle here? It's a difference between challenging, why did you just do this? Versus, why did you use this point? Like, oh, this point is sensitive. What's this for?
Yeah.
Because that lets me know, oh, you want to know. So let me explain to you what I'm doing to your body. And once you understand the journey, you're like, oh my God, I totally forgot. I had this weird thing. Nothing is ever TMI. Okay, let me back that up. I did have just yesterday's patient, very strange with me. If you fight with your partner, if you've diarrhea, or you haven't pooped in 2 weeks, those are all very important things for me to know, right?
Yep.
If you are used to having sex 4 times a week and now you haven't had it in 4 months and you have no desire to, that's something I want to know. However, I don't want to know your preferences, your styles, and what you do during that special time. I don't need to know that. Okay? That part is TMI. But the habitual routine things that physically happen, emotional things, it's never TMI. And also, blanket statement for women, never say sorry for saying ouch, or ooh, that's sensitive, or oh, that hurts, right? I have so many women patients that are like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, oh, I didn't mean to flinch. And I'm like, it's normal. Why are we apologizing for a physical reaction?
My patients are like, fuck you, Jeff. What the fuck?
See, be like Jeff's patient.
Great.
I want you to own it, right? Be comfortable to say, that doesn't feel good in my body. Sometimes, unfortunately, we're not going to move the needle because it's a hurt so good type of thing that we need to leave it in. But with over 1,000 points to choose from your body, if it's not an anchor point, like an essential point, we're going to do you a solid and make different points, right? Like, I realize that I'm making acupuncture sound crazy.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No,
okay.
I think so.
Because I think acupuncture is an experience.
It's definitely experience.
Like,
it's hard to explain it in words.
Yeah, yeah. And I also think every acupuncturist gives a different experience. So, Okay, now that we've gotten a little bit chummy, guys, know the word chummy. I like to say, if you've had a bad experience with acupuncture, that sucks. And I'm sorry. But it's normal. Okay? We've all, in our 40s, have dated a bunch of frogs. And some of us, if you're married, great. If you're not, great, right? You make friends, and you decide from those friends, oh, I like this guy a little bit better. I like this woman a little bit better. And then you end up dating. You become together or exclusive or whatever you guys call it these days. And then you get married. Some people stay married. Some people get divorced. It's a journey, right? Like finding your person romantically, I think is the same thing as finding like a hairstylist, your nail person, a masseuse, a massage therapist. Same thing with acupuncturists. Your medical doctors, not all of them are going to be nice to you and not all of them are going to be knowledgeable, right? Give us some grace too. Acupuncturists, we're a little bit more woo-woo, if you will. We have different frequencies, different vibes, different journeys that immediately you're going to feel locked in when you see somebody. And it could also be vice versa, where you're like, oh, I don't know why, but like, I just don't feel comfortable. I can't put my guard down. That person is not for you. That person may be me. I might be the best acupuncturist, but I might not be the best for you, right? So if you've had a bad experience, I'm sorry. And I hope it wasn't something egregious. But acupuncture is, you got to kiss a lot of frogs to find your person, right? Don't kiss us, like literally, but shop around until you find the person that you're like, okay, this person gets me. And I think that's one of the things I explain about acupuncture. It's like a relationship, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Same goes for herbalists too.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
I hate to talk shit about herbalists, but there's not a lot of true herbalists out there.
Ooh, tell me the tea.
Yeah, mostly what I see is acupuncturists that use herbs as an adjunct. They'll carry a couple standard formulas to use on the shelf. They'll ask, like during patient intake, they'll know you don't sleep well or you get headaches or whatever, and they'll throw a formula at it, completely in a very like symptomatic, like I have this symptom, let me give you this formula, very low level diagnosis. And I feel like a lot of the way herbal medicine is prescribed here in the West especially, but also in the East, is very Western. This symptom, this formula. If this doesn't work, then I'll try the next formula. And it can work, right? Sometimes it can not work, but it can actually at least get the symptom to alleviate. But whether or not the herbalist is actually treating the pattern very accurately, that's a completely different story. And that to me takes a lot of hard work and a lot of training to do that.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree.
So,
although, this is the he said, she said part.
Cool.
Jeff, just to reiterate, Jeff is a herbalist forward Chinese medicine practitioner. I am very much an acupuncture forward Chinese medicine doctor. The difference is Jeff has done the work. I'm going to brag a little bit about my co-host here. He has done the work for the herbal formulas. Like I said, two conversations ago, I had that extreme neck pain. I trusted. The only person I've ever drank herbs from was my father and Jeff.
Oh,
so
shit.
That's how much I trust that you've done the work, right? And those of my beloveds know, our yin-yangs out there, that I'm not a guinea pig. I'm very, very picky with what goes in my body. I don't take vitamins, I don't take supplements, I don't take a lot of pain meds unless I'm like dying. I was drinking your herbs. I'm one of those acupuncturists who do have the stable standard formulas in my clinic. I'm not an herbal forward person because I haven't paid my dues in the herbal world. Fortunately, unfortunately for me, my father was one of the most renowned herbalists of his generation, and my grandfather before him as well. Awards from governments and all those things. So I was brought up with herb formulas. I do agree with a statement that education has become so laughable and negligent that herbs is something that people just add as like a money maker. It's like an add-on. Oh, do this. Oh, do you have a headache? Take Xiaoyao-san. Oh, you have this? Take Beiji Fuling Wan. Oh, do you have this? Sujun Satam. But like, you can't use a standard formula when you have somebody who's coming in for a specific problem, right? Herbs, don't get me wrong, classical herbs are fantastic, but true herbalists know that there has to be modifications made to the specific person. Doses have to be messed with. You can't use standard doses. If we have the same herbs, you're a man, I'm a woman, but height difference, weight difference, body type difference, you can't give him the same formula that you give me, right? But they don't understand that. So, yes, I do use it as an add-on, not for adding extra money, but because some things I think are boosted working internally with the external application of acupuncture, but never will I give you a generic formula that is just on ChatGPT or Google. And again, this is not directed at a specific person. This is just in general. Being in this industry for as long as we have combined, you start to see a lot of things that you're like, man, we would be so much stronger as an industry if we just put in a little bit more work, right? So.
Yeah. It's Chinese medicine is in a very interesting place these days, and it's like this. It's got a lot of momentum. People are really buying into it, but I do feel like there is a major lack in education, not only in the West but in the East too.
I remember you saying that. I thought I held you to such high respect. Not that I don't now, probably more so because you did explain, but if you studied in China at Beijing University nonetheless, I was like, man, you had access to top tier education. And then hearing all the things that I do from you, from my other colleagues that studied in China, they're like, it's all going to shit.
Quite ironic, isn't it?
And I'm like, what? Chinese medicine from China should be top tier.
Yep.
I mean, granted, don't get me wrong. Beijing, Korea, Dongguk, Gyeonggi, all the Korean KMD places, leaps and bounds above any American school, including like all the ones in Cali, Bastyr, wherever else. They're very different levels because you have access to the native language that the texts were written in, that the culture was written in. But I was really disheartened to hear that it wasn't what we were all like, oh my god, Beijing graduate, right? But like, also, it was wonderful to hear because you weren't like trying to pretend like it was this prestigious thing, which it took me by surprise. I was like, dude, you graduated from Beijing.
I wanted it to be prestigious. That's why I went there. I was like, this is supposedly the best Chinese medicine school in the world.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, all right, if I'm gonna learn it, let's fucking do it. Let's go to the source.
Yeah.
And imagine my surprise when I'm like in classes and I slowly, like the veil is slowly being lifted. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And I'm just getting like more and more disgusted with the education, the system, the classes I was taking. Until it just got to the point where I had almost like completely written off my school. I was like, I hated the clinicals. I hated the way they were prescribing herbs.
Oh no.
They were writing the ugliest fucking formulas I swear I've ever seen. Like 20 something herbs in this formula. And I was like,
with acupuncture prescriptions.
How the fuck do you know what's happening when your formula is that big?
No, you're just grabbing everything and throwing it in a pot.
It's
right?
so bad. And like, it got to a point where I was like, yo, I'm just certain clinical teachers, I just stopped showing up for. I'm like, I just don't need to be here. I don't want to be here. So
damn, that bad.
It was bad, man. I have a lot of stories from Beijing that, like, I feel like if I told them all, most people would be like, you know what? I'm not gonna go study in Beijing. I'm gonna spend 2 less years. I'm gonna do 3 years in America, and then I'm gonna find some real education.
Oh, okay. Speaking of, so we have an episode reserved for our bitches and gripes about myth busting for acupuncture. We're probably gonna have to have like a part 1, part 2 because
blacklisted from my school.
I have some stuff too, but I will say, it's been, as a capitalist living in a capitalist society, it's been wonderful for me because I have so many students. Nobody has trademarked psychology acupuncture. I did that. I wrote a book on it. I teach on it. And I also, really actually believe in it. But because the education systems, the institutions of America are so crap, I have a lot of private students. And I teach everything from basic theory and foundations to understanding points, understanding meridians, understanding psychology from a Western perspective, understanding different Shen. And I'm like, oh my God, what if somebody actually taught this while we were in school? We would have so many better practitioners. I wouldn't have wasted 10 years trying to scrounge around finding mentors only to find out halfway through and a shit ton of money in the hole that they're quacks.
Yep.
Or spending all this time and money chasing a mentor who is really good but only takes one student at a time and they're like 85. I'm like, fuck, So it's, what about the people that are passionate about keeping Chinese medicine alive and handed down in better shape than when it was handed to us? Hi, you can take my class.
Yeah, go to her.
But yeah, I mean, even trigger point. I teach a different form of trigger point, but have you ever heard of trigger point for fibromyalgia?
I have not.
I teach that. But
I want to learn.
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll I'll host a master class. But I think that's what, again, going back to this whole concept of how do you explain acupuncture without sounding crazy? The answer is you can't. You can't. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Because one, for those of you that don't know, my nickname obviously is the Witch Doctor. Have I ever told you how I got that name?
If you did, I can't recall.
Okay. 14 years ago, I had a private practice down in Georgia. And I was pretty much equivalent to the Hobbit in the Woods. Probably because I'm also really short. But you have to find these weird directions to find my little standalone hut. It was a little white 2-story house on top of a little hill. I had 0 signs. I had nothing on my windows. And at that time, I had electric purple hair. And yes, I do have photos. And I had a 79-year-old patient. And she is sassy pants. I aspire to be her when I'm 79. But she was coming in, and it was my first week of being open. And you can hear her talking on a little cell phone as she's walking up. She drove a little Mercedes-Benz, blue hair. She goes, I gotta go. Yes, I'm Southern. I have a Southern accent when I want it to. She goes, I have to go, Bertie. I have to go. I'm at my doctor's. And we could hear her through the window. And there's 4 other people in the waiting area. And they all knew each other. And she goes, no, I'm at my witch doctor. And we don't hear what the other person says. And she goes, no, Bertie, not my bitch doctor, my witch doctor. And everybody looks at me and they start laughing. And she goes, I don't know. She stabs me and then she sets me on fire and then she does some other voodoo doo-doo shit, but I feel good. And she hangs up. She walks in and I go, witch doctor, huh? She goes, at least I didn't say bitch doctor. And that's how it stuck. I had purple hair, no signs, no marketing. You had to know somebody to get an invite to my clinic. And she called me the witch doctor because she stabs me, sets me on fire, and gives her some plant chippings, I think, because I gave her herbs at the time.
Yeah, we're clipping that. That was good.
So
I never heard that story before. Okay.
Yeah, that's my cute origin story.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, so I've just run with it. And I'm as I got older in my practice, I realized there's not a lot of difference between witches, from Salem or from Europe, than there are with what Chinese medicine does. I mean, you're not going to catch me. First of all, we're in New York City, so there's not a lot of forest land for me to run around in the woods naked around a cauldron. But we do herbs.
Okay.
We use meridians, which also witches use meridians. They use energy. They do, which is crazy.
Okay.
And then we work with energy. They also have a type of form of energy.
When you say witch, what are you talking about?
Witch, so, the origin story of the actual word witch was, it was supposed to be a medicine woman. But it started turning into a ugly and destructive connotation, because men were afraid of these medicine women or these well women or these shamanistic women who were doing these things, so they started labeling them as witches. So people started to fear them. So they started to take, originally witches were supposed to be like beautiful forever because they ate the children of blood, like blood children and whatever else. But then it started turning into the green with the warts and on like ugly and in hiding. But witch was literally just a word that was supposed to reference a medicine woman. But it's no different. Like, how is Chinese medicine not really witchy, right?
Chinese medicine is very much from like the shamans, Taoists. Yeah, completely.
Yes, could be the fortune telling with your birthday.
The history is completely from that stuff. Yeah.
I do want to ask you, if you had to describe what you do, but make it sound illegal, just like I did, yeah. You can't use "I stab people" and make them pay for it.
Okay. I mean, I open up my trench coat and I sell them my wares, you know?
Oh my god.
I got my dime bags here. I'm like, you need a little hit of this shit right here.
You're a drug dealer.
I'm a dealer, man.
Oh my god, you're a plant dealer. You're a medicine man.
People need their herbs, man. Once they get on it, they're like, shit, life is so much different on these.
That's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen you in a trench coat, but that's also because I met you in February.
I don't like trench coats.
Oh my god. How many of you want to see Jeff in a trench coat now, selling his wares?
Yeah. This is my new thing, I guess.
Oh man. Last thing I want to talk about is there's a lot of discourse around acupuncture being like a placebo effect, right? I know that we could dedicate a whole like conversation if we wanted to, but briefly, what do you think about that statement? Because people, hand in hand with how does acupuncture work, and what if it's a placebo?
What if it's a placebo?
Yeah.
Do people think insurance companies would pay good fucking money for a placebo effect?
I think that's a loaded question.
I think no. I don't think they would. I think they would review this more carefully than anyone out there.
Yeah, but acupuncture doesn't get covered by insurance.
It does.
Not for most. It's mostly like out of network.
Like
in network.
But the fact that any insurance company is covering it to me is to me it's significant.
I mean, considering they're not the most like trustworthy of industries,
fair,
I would say.
Fair. All right. So in terms of placebo, then, if anyone has ever had like trigger point needling, I don't know how anybody can call that a placebo.
Sure.
Because for me, acupuncture can be subtle. Mm-hmm. So if you're not tapped into your body, it can be very hard for you to tell. Mm-hmm. What's what, like, is this the acupuncture that's doing it?
Yeah.
But trigger point needling is the opposite of subtle.
Sure.
And it's so obvious that, before and after is so obvious that, like, if you never had trigger point needling done, then, okay, maybe in your head it could be placebo-ish. But once you've had it done and you feel the effects, to me, there's no question after that. What do you think?
Good. I hope it is.
You hope it's placebo?
No. People say, I hope what if it is placebo? What if it is all in your head? But where does your mind reside? Right? Like, is that such a bad thing? You don't have to know what actually is happening. A lot of people say, I slept better, or I did this. Why do you think you slept better all of a sudden? Right? The trigger point part, yes. I think it's a form that you can see immediately, you can feel immediately. But acupuncture is something that it's what you don't notice. You're not snapping at your partner. You're not snapping at your bosses. You're sleeping better. You're going to the bathroom better. You have better energy. It's the things that other people around you are like, wow, you've got your like glow back, right? So what if it's all in your head? Most of it is. Where are your emotions supposed to be stored mentally? Where are you supposed to be? Right? You can say placebo all you want to, but if taking a sugar pill makes you feel better and that in turn helps you stay unstressed, not to say that you should switch out for like actual medications that are life-saving, but isn't that why we all do acupuncture, massage, and all these other things? It's because we want to feel better, right? But Just because you can't see it, and they're saying, oh, it's all in your head. Yeah, it is. It is all in my head. Doesn't mean it's not real. Doesn't mean that it's not happening. You can close your eyes and you stick your head in the sand, shit still happens, right? So what if it is? Like, for people that are like, oh, it's all in your head, be like, good, I hope it is. Because where else do you get happiness? Where else do you get peace? Right? Who gives a fuck what other people want you to say or not say? If you feel better, guess what? You're going to look better, you're going to act better, and people around you it's infectious, right? If I'm happy, and you see that I'm happy, wouldn't you just kind of be like, hey, what's going on, right? But if I'm in a pissed off mood, you'd be like, fuck, why is she being a bitch right now? And everybody's on edge, right? Be the happy person, be the stable person, be the safe person. And if that is because you get acupuncture or because you're, stretching, and who's to say yoga is helping you? But people that do yoga swear by it, right? Yoga, I'm not even putting needles in that person. You're just doing what downward dog, or like sticking your butt in the air. Sorry, I don't know yoga. But like, if you feel better from doing it, why is that such a bad thing?
I mean, if the end result is feeling better, then okay. But, I mean, if we're talking about cause and effect, and if it's not like reproducible, as a clinician, I would have a problem myself with the variability.
Sure. Okay.
Like, this patient feels better, and let's say it's placebo, and I'm like, okay, I do the same thing to someone else, and nothing happens. The only problem I would see is on my part. Like, what am I doing? Like, how do I make a system that can reliably help most people that come through my door?
But I think you're taking autonomy away from the other person. You're assuming that they want to be fixed, right? Some people just are miserable, and that becomes their identity. Like, if you've been sick for so long and you start to feel better, you don't know who you are without that illness anymore. And so I mean, as much as I sound like a wise Yoda right now, I struggle with that too. I'm like, why is this not working? But I realize some people don't want to. And so it's just, they want something. I already did acupuncture, I'm already taking the herbs, I'm already doing the chiropractic, I'm already doing all this, I still feel like shit. Well, it's because they want to stay there.
That's fair.
And so,
I think there is definitely a group of people like
you
that.
can be shit at acupuncture, but as long as you get general vicinity of it, you can't not feel better. That's the amazing part about Chinese medicine. That's why you have good, better, and best practitioners, people that get in the general vicinity versus right on the money versus dead set bullseye, right? But some people just don't want to. Like, they're just like, no, it's not going to work.
Yeah, that's true. There are people like that. Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. I mean, but it's not something that we can help them with if they don't know they don't know who to be without this, so they don't want to lose it, right?
Yeah, there's a part of everyone that clings to what is.
Yeah.
And even if it's being miserable, there's a part of their ego that like doesn't want to die.
Yeah.
It's gonna hang on for dear life. Yeah, it's sad, but it takes a lot of actually deep work to really heal. I think you can feel better, symptomatically better, and not really have like true healing happening. Yeah. Right?
It takes courage. It takes courage to, one, admit that there's something wrong. But it takes more courage to blindly trust the next step when you have no idea what that looks like. And so, yeah, I think, again, this is going to make acupuncture sound crazy, but it forms the next steps, right? It doesn't give you your future, it doesn't give you your next self or your next identity or chapter, but acupuncture is one of the very few, for me, the only, because I am an acupuncture person, but it's the only modality, only medicine that helps to strip away the survival mode and the character armor that you've built so that you can choose to be the next person.
I love the way you put that.
So it's scary, it's terrifying, don't get me wrong, because we've had to build this identity, but it if we're no longer needing to survive, why stay in survival mode?
I really say the same thing with herbs sometimes. Is like I can set conditions for you to make changes in your life, but the herbs themselves will not do like the true heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Like I can get you sleeping better. I can get you more energy. I can get your poops better. You know, so you're not holding shit in all the time.
Literally.
But then like you haven't changed as a person yet. And that kind of work is something that each person needs to like really decide to do for themselves.
I think that's the main difference of what an acupuncturist does and what a Chinese medicine practitioner does. I always say Chinese medicine is a lifestyle. I mean it. You can get acupuncture once a week for your entire life and still just be on maintenance mode. If you don't do the heavy lifting, as you said, to take the tools that we're giving you, it's fine too. We're not saying that you have to, because it's terrifying, right? And some people are happy right where they are.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not a bad thing to
you don't have to, right?
You could be perfectly happy at your level, and that's cool.
But if you feel like you're already in the in-between stage of leaving who you were into who you're becoming, acupuncture, herbs, all under Chinese medicine, help kind of give you the next step so that it guides you into where you want to be, but it never will tell you who you're going to be. So, well, so much for acupuncture not sounding crazy. But who doesn't want to be crazy?
I mean, life is crazy.
Yeah.
The body is crazy.
It is.
The mind is crazy.
Yeah. But good crazy. We like good crazy, not clinically crazy. That acupuncture helps with as well. I'm a shit waker, so I try really fast. But yeah, acupuncture's crazy, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
I think for a medicine to really be able to change a person on 3 levels, it has to be systematic, but it also has to start getting into some craziness too. Because if it's gonna encompass the breadth of what a person is, from the physical structured aspect of themselves to the mental part that can go anywhere and everywhere, the medicine itself has to make allowances for that.
Absolutely.
Chinese medicine does. It does. I mean, those ancients back in the day, I feel like they were just tripping out on this stuff all day, every day.
Oh man.
No distractions.
What a life.
One with nature, just like trying to understand on a deeper and deeper level. Like, I don't know. I don't think human beings have the capacity these days to do that kind of stuff.
For sure.
So it's a gift. Yeah, Chinese medicine is a gift.
Chinese medicine is a gift.
It really is.
What a heartwarming note. I feel good.
Yeah, I feel blessed to study this.
Yeah.
To prescribe formulas that were being prescribed like 2,000 fucking years ago. Are you kidding me? Like, this is ancient wisdom, like literally still being used in the same form today. And I'm just like, that's fucking amazing. Blows my mind, right? And then Tai Chi is this art hundreds of years old, being passed down from one obsessed person to the next.
I like that.
And it's just like, thank you heavens that this shit still exists. Because, like, seriously, in 100 years, it might be gone.
Yeah.
Or it might be some really, really watered down version of what it once was. So, yeah, just feeling blessed, man.
Me too. Alright, well, I'm feeling all warm and fuzzy.
Cool. That's the Chi Talks. Keep detoxing and let your body do what it do.